Hey y'all, I'm Rachel, and today we're planting a pollinator garden. I am obsessed with pollinator gardens, not only because they're beautiful to look at, but because they are so important to our ecosystem. We want all these birds and bees and butterflies to come into our yard to help our plants and flowers grow. Pollinators love bright colors, so we've got a whole mix of really fun colors in here. Fun textures and different heights also give them an opportunity to interact more with your garden. So today I am going to show you how to select a space for your pollinator garden, how to pick the plants for it, how to lay out the design. So the end result will be a beautiful garden for you and your pollinators to enjoy for years to come. So the first step for your pollinator garden is selecting the space. I chose this space based on the fact that it gets full sunlight and is also between two apple trees that our homeowner has put in. Now, bringing pollinators into any area where you either have a veggie bed or fruit trees, they really help boost the growth on anything produce related. However, if you don't have those growing in your yard, pollinators are still great for the ecosystem in general. So that might be something that you want to look for when you're deciding where you want to put your pollinator garden. The bed is prepped. Let's get started. When picking your plants for your pollinator garden, there are no hard and fast rules. You really want to find out what works best for your particular area, but there are some guidelines that may help you zero in on what plants that you want to pick. Pollinators are really attracted to bright colors, some more than others, and so we wanted to run the gamut with all of the colors that we chose here. All the petal shapes are great. You know, you've got the tubular flowers for hummingbirds and butterflies that they love so much. Hummingbirds love the tubular shape on the flower petals because the way their slender beak is shaped and their tongue can slip right down and grab that nectar out. Broad leaves are a big deal because pollinators sometimes need a place to rest. They also love like fun textures. So these feathery blooms are something that bees just really love to crawl in and around. So that is what we've got going on here, and it's awesome. Those are some general guidelines, but when you go to your nursery, check out what's native to your area. So as a reminder, I'm really interested in bringing in bees, hummingbirds, and butterflies. So that's why I've chosen the plants that I have. So let's get into this. To kick things off, I'm going to be laying out my design. I like to do this before I put the plants in the ground just to make sure that I like how everything feels and how it relates to each other. I am starting in the back with bee balm. Bee balm attracts bees, obviously, but also hummingbirds based on these little tubular flowers. I'm gonna go ahead and be putting it in the back because it will spread and continue to grow taller, so I think it'll give a good backstory to the rest of the garden. Other great thing about bee balm is in the fall and winter, the seed heads provide a great food source for birds. So I am lining these up across the back of our garden because they will continue to grow up and spread. I always tend to like to put tallest in back just so we have a view of every single plant. Love it. Okay, so now we're moving into the black truffle cardinal flower. I love this guy. I love the sweet, delicate petals. Hummingbirds love this one because of those tubular flowers again, and because of the color. Also, the foliage color will continue to deepen over time too, which is a real attractor. So I'm gonna layer this in front of the bee balm. Next. Oh my goodness. We have the celosia. Now this is an annual. Normally I like all of my plants to come back year after year, but oh look, that was a bee. Bees love this because of these long feathery plumes. There's tons of space to crawl on. There's so many of them, they get to crawl between, and they can get individual nectar out of each one of these little spikes. I'm gonna go ahead and place it a little bit closer to the edge since it is an annual and it will need to be pulled out at the end of its growing season. I just want to give an opportunity for easy access since it has to be pulled out, and that's why we're setting it over here. Okay, next, This is a plant that I am going to insist that you put in your pollinator garden no matter where you are. This is butterflied milkweed. This glorious lovely here is the only food source for monarch caterpillars. To be clear, what that means is that there are no monarch butterflies without this plant. It is the only host plant for monarchs. So as their population going down, I really want to encourage you. This is such a great pollinator. The blooms are really precious. It's just a really, really great pollinator plant, but it is, again, it is the only host plant for monarchs. So you always want to include this one in your garden. What I'm going to do to get more bang for my buck is I'm going to place a cluster of them all in one area to hopefully really bring these caterpillars in. Okay, and now we're moving on to coneflower. What I love about coneflower is not only are they a good food source for birds, bees, and butterflies, but they also come in such a beautiful array of colors, which of course is eye-catching to us, but also to the pollinators themselves, since they are attracted to so many different colors. So I'm gonna just sort of layer that sort of in the middle here. I've got pink, a deeper red, whites, and yellow. I'm loving how the bed's looking so far. I love the textures and the heights and all of the different colors. We are about 3/4 of the way there, so we're gonna go ahead and push on through. Now we're moving on to Black-Eyed Susan. This one's a superstar for both bees and butterflies, and I'm gonna go ahead and take these around in the front. Okay, moving on to the beautiful purple aster. Bees, all the bees love this one, so this is why this one is important. We're gonna go ahead and layer these down front. Okay, now we're moving on to a hummingbird love. This is beard tongue. It does have a bloom that shoots up with the tubular flowers, which hummingbirds love, but it's also got that great broad leaf that allow pollinators to sit and rest. So since these tend to spread a little bit more, I'm gonna have them help me create my border. So what I mean by border plant is just anything that has a little bit of a lower, more compact growth pattern that sort of can form as an edge to the rest of my garden. And last but not least, we have tick seed. These have these precious little yellow flowers that both birds and butterflies love. I also love its low-growing, more compact nature to serve again as a border. So I'm gonna finish out the border with some tick seed, and then we'll see how it looks. Okay. I love this. I love the heights, I love the textures, I love the colors. I think it looks amazing. I think it's time to get it planted. Every time you buy a plant, there should be a little tag on it that gives you what the mature growth spread is, whether it be between 2 to 4 feet, 3 to 6 feet. If something says that it's got a 2 to 4 foot mature spread, I like to plant them about 2 feet apart because I like them to feel really full. Kind of squeeze and place and get that all packed in. Every part has been thought of, And it's also gonna grow in really nicely. So I'm pretty stoked. I'm happy with it. All right, we're planted, we're mulched, and now we have our sweet finishing touches. So this is an insect home, and this is a lovely, lovely place to invite these lovely pollinators to go ahead and stay in your garden. So we are going to place this in the garden facing east because that morning sun really wakes them up and coaxes them out. And then they've got all of the lovely edibles that they can spend their day flying around. I love it, it's super sweet, and I have one more finishing touch. Believe it or not, even pollinators would love to take a break and rehydrate by putting river rocks in here with some out of the water. They'll be able to perch there and get a nice drink of water. Guys, we did it. We've now created a home for our pollinators. We've given them a place to eat, a place to rest, a place to drink, and a place to call home. And in return, they're gonna build our ecosystem. This is gorgeous. I'm so proud of what we've created here, and I can't wait to see what pollinators decide to make this their new home.